Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video I'm going to be covering Nemesis. Now, the Nemesis that I'm going to be speaking on has had 3 different iterations. The first being Isabel St. Ives, the second being Jane Thorne, and the third being Amelia Weatherly, who is the most current and the one I'll be focusing on. The very first appearance of Nemesis St. Ives was in Alpha Flight Volume 1, Issue number 8, that was released in March of 1984. But the Amelia iteration first appeared in Alpha Flight Volume 3, Issue number 1, that was released in May of 2004. Amelia stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighs 115 pounds, having green eyes and strawberry blonde hair. Being an undead figure that garners all of her powers from something called the Onyx Sword, also known as the Soul Sword, or Scell. This is a powerful magical blade that's forged from a living promethium metal. It's not even 1 atom thick, and yet is unbreakable, which naturally gives it the ability to slice through virtually anything, which is a very useful characteristic being in the hands of someone who is such a great swordsman. This sword has granted all of the Nemesis iterations with moderate superhuman strength, durability, and stamina, as well as considerable superhuman speed and agility, being able to easily dodge gunfire. Additionally, Nemesis can fly and can teleport through space and time, although the time travel ability of this sword oddly requires a blood sacrifice of a being that has been to the timeline trying to be reached. Once the individual has been cut, the sword can open a portal in time that person and anyone else can go through. And another odd fact about this ability is that the person that is cut goes to a place somewhere between life and death called the Way Station, wherein their greatest secrets are revealed to Nemesis. And once they're through the portal, they don't remember these secrets being shared, but Nemesis does. The Onyx Sword also gives Nemesis her life itself, literally bringing her back from the dead and allowing her to have an unspecified long lifespan, potentially being immortal as long as she holds the sword. But one downfall is if she is not holding the sword, or if it's not in its sheath that's right beside her body, she will literally stop functioning and begin to go back to the state of death. Now, what we know about the Amelia Nemesis is that she was born somewhere in the early 19th century and was an adult in Chicago somewhere around the Prohibition period. During this time, she would become the beloved mistress of Rutherford Princeton, who himself would later become the Alpha Flight superhero known as Centennial. Nemesis died during this era under unknown circumstances that involved a building burning down, and she was buried in a shallow grave. After this, it was stated that she had somehow been to hell twice, but was revived as the living embodiment of retribution, being an undead warrior that was brought to life by her promethium sword. Years later, she would be taken in by the Canadian authorities as an anarchist, being held until Sasquatch made a deal for her release if she were to join the new Alpha Flight team that he was putting together to go save the originals. She reluctantly joined, but since she was so unstable and unpredictable, Sasquatch injected her with nanotech that would be able to sever her connection between her and the sword, if it was ever needed to shut her down. Just by chance, Centennial would also be recruited to this new team, although Nemesis was the only one aware of their old connection. The new squad would go on to rescue the original team, and due to their success and some promises made to Sasquatch, he would allow her to keep her freedom and not go back to confinement, in return for her remaining a member of Alpha Flight. Subsequent to this, an old enemy of Alpha Flight named Flashback would show up and swear that he had been reformed, claiming that he was out of time and needing their help to fix the timeline that he was from. Using the Onyx Sword's time-traveling abilities, Nemesis would quote-unquote kill Flashback and each of the members of Alpha Flight to send them back in time. But each of these deaths would mess up the timeline even more, so she would finally decide to take herself out, hoping that this would fix everything. Ultimately, Alpha Flight would manage to reasonably fix the timeline, and the last we'd see of Nemesis is a glimpse into one of the possible futures where she was laying side by side in a casket with her long-lost love, Centennial. Now, due to her powers and abilities and her influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Nemesis Amelia Weatherly a rating of 4, which is a rating of journeyman. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the new Sage.